remotely looks like that one there, for example, you know, in a business setting, really obviously is not the thing to do. And I think that, you know, these very high platform shoes, you know, people my age look at those and just think broken ankle. And I just wanted to say, from the motherly side, you can easily break an ankle with a platform shoe. You think you're doing yourself a favor because the heel is this high, but the platform is this high, so you really only this. But the fact is, the higher the platform, those are dangerous, dangerous shoes. No, seriously, they are. And you get to know that as you get older. But I think that ordinary high heels up to 3 inches are fine if they're comfortable on you, if you can get through the day in them. Or lower than that, or flat shoes as long as they're, you know, attractive looking are fine. I don't think it matters whether they're open or closed, except you don't want to wear flip-flops and that kind of thing. You want to wear something that's just a good looking shoe that you can get around in. But I have a bag, you know, I'm always carrying that Paris bag of mine. I have 2 pairs of shoes in that bag. I have another pair of heels, so that if I can't stand these anymore. Now these are, you won't have these when you just get out of law school, but these are slingback shoes. They're not sling, you know, they're open, but they're Gucci. So and you know, but the other pair of shoes I have in my bag are sort of Payless, you know. And the third are flat shoes for if it rains and when I really need to get somewhere. So I always have 3 pairs. And in New York, at the Four Seasons restaurant in New York is where women legal headhunters take all their clients. It's hilarious. Anyhow, you will see, particularly in the wintertime or on a rainy day, every single woman comes in there, and then the restaurant itself, which is a very swank restaurant, is up a floor. So, but where you come in is where the cloakroom is, you know, and it's all very formal. And without exception, women come in tennis shoes and flat shoes and things like that. They take them off, they put on these very attractive shoes, and they give the whole bag with all the unattractive shoes and so on to the hat check person, and then they sweep up the steps in their full regalia. So shoes are, you know, they got to be comfortable. They shouldn't be so high as to call attention to them. On the other hand, if you like, I'm 4'11" and a half, so I mean, I like wearing high heels, but fairly understated in style, I guess is what I would say.
Yeah, I would say shoes go for comfort. And I mean, shoes are the one thing where I will spend a lot of money on because I want to be comfortable. And I do agree, I was one of those people who would always like walk to work and wear my tennis shoes, and then I'd change my shoes when I came to the office. And I would also say I do love wearing boots, but just a side note is that I would have never worn boots to court, or to like, depending on what the business function was in terms of, it was every day at work and I was just doing my work. I thought the boots were fine, but in terms of like meeting clients and going to events or going to court, I'm a little bit more traditional in that sense. I wouldn't have done the boots for that.
Okay, thank you. Next topic is jewelry and accessories, and then maybe we can also cover at the same time hosiery. So
And hair.
And hair. Hosiery and hair. Well, hair is coming up improvement. So we can kind of cover all those at the same time. Do you guys have any?
Yes, I just wanted to make one comment. It actually goes back more to the tailoring and cleavage section, which is, and I came in a little bit late, so I don't know if anyone remembers this, but I mentioned this already, but there is no more private anymore these days with LinkedIn and Facebook and Google. And I just want to tell a quick story. I was on a jury a couple years ago in San Francisco, and there were 2 young women, a prosecuting attorney and a defense attorney. And I did contain myself and didn't do this till after the trial was over. But every one of those jurors Googled and Facebook and LinkedIn the lawyers. And the district attorney in particular was, I thought, dressed quite inappropriately for the jury. Very high heel, open-toed shoes, her clothes were too tight, and it was a decoy prostitution case. So actually, by the end of the trial, she didn't look very much different than the decoy prostitute. And on her LinkedIn page and on her Facebook page, everybody knows her name. People she's prosecuting can do this. In both of those, she was in a very slinky, very revealing tank top with a lot of cleavage showing. And I didn't do it, but I was really tempted to call up the district attorney's office and have them have a session like this. So you have to remember that it's not simply what you're wearing when you show up someplace. If you go on a job interview, and people will Google you, and whatever pictures you have in any kind of a public place on the internet may be the picture that they remember.
That's a really good point. A very good point. So I'm going to just make 2 quick comments about accessories and hair. So my accessories comment is when I came from New York to San Diego in federal court, I came from a more formal legal environment. And my first or second week of court, it was August, and a woman came to argue a case in front of my judge who was a very formal man, always wore suspenders, always dressed very formally. And she was wearing a very short skirt suit with no pantyhose and open-toed sandals. I mean, she looked like she had come in from the beach and just thrown on her suit. And I was sort of stunned, right, with this. And I made a comment to my co-clerk, who had been there a year, who said, oh, you just wait. She's known for this. She came in 3 weeks later, same deal. These very open-toed sandals, no hose. In the context of the federal court, at least the chambers that I was in, you did not, appearing without hosiery did not look good. That was very different, though, down the hall, where there was a woman judge who didn't care if lawyers were wearing hosiery or not. In Washington, D.C., all female lawyers wore hosiery, and based on my experience. And in San Francisco, you don't need to wear hosiery. That's the sense that I get. So I think hosiery is about location. That's my sense. In terms of hair, this is something that I certainly have thought a lot about. My very first semester of teaching hair at Golden Gate, as those of you who know me for a long time will remember, I wore my hair up in a clip every single day of the semester. I never wore it down. I had very long hair at the time. Did not wear it down once. The second semester, I wore it down maybe 3 weeks into the semester, and the dean at the time said to me, you look like a law student. And I thought, that hair's going back up. Back up for the rest of the year. That's it. So you have to think, the hair that you had in your 20s and in college is not going to be the hair you have in your 30s. It's just time to accept that right now. That's my opinion. And so, or not always, but in many instances. And so I think women have a lot of leeway in hair. Now I wear my hair, I'm tenured, I wear my hair now. But it was something I really thought a lot about, that I felt like full suit hair up was my MO for the entire, I would say the first 3 years of teaching. That's what I did. So, and I still do to this day. So that's my hair story.
Okay, hair. Yeah, the long hair thing is one of those things that I've seen some pictures of myself not too long in my early 20s when I was first practicing law, and I was horrified by the hair issue. But a lot of women have, it's a luxury being young to have long hair. But the fact is that it does create a kind of an Alice in Wonderland look, and on most women it makes them look even younger than you already are, and so you don't want to look younger than you already are when you're representing clients. Just think about a doctor you go see. If you go see a woman doctor, do you really want someone who has hair down to her waist and so on? So you want to avoid the Alice in Wonderland look, and you want to look coiffed and so forth. One of the questions I don't know the answer to is that with long hair, the answer used to be that you'd stick it up in some kind of a bun thing, or back the way you wear yours and the way I wear mine, which is, I think, fine. Of course, I think that's fine because that's what I do. But somebody was just saying to me recently that they did an interview with somebody and she wore her very long hair in a ponytail. For women of a certain age, ponytails are not really considered dressing properly. And then I thought, but better than braids. But somehow or other, I don't know what the answer is when you have long hair these days. I don't think that most judges and most jurors go for ponytails of any sort, in a more formal setting. So I'd say if you have long hair, you probably have to wear it either sort of tied back the way you were talking about, or in a bun type thing, or at some point you end up cutting your hair. The truth is, you end up cutting your hair because you don't want to look like when you finally hit your late 40s, you don't want to look like you're trying to look like you're 22 because that makes you look like a fool. So and it's more expensive to color long hair. Let's face it. And on the color issue, I should say, that's where best friends come in. My best friend in the world, his name is Ronnie, a woman. Ronnie one day said to me when I was about 55 years old, Drew, it's time. So that was when I first started to actually color my hair. And then about 3 years later, she said, Drew, it's time for double process. So if you don't have a friend to do that for you, it's something to think about. Now, lots of women go gray and look great, but it's one of those things you have to decide what you want to do about that when you get older. It's not for most of the women here, and it's entirely your decision, but but you have to actually sort of stand back and realize that you're no longer so very, very smart for one so young. Now, on the accessories thing, you know, I think you have to, I'm in a very different situation in the job that I'm in now. But when you're going to court, first of all, you don't want a bunch of jewelry that makes it look like you just, you know, you got a hell of a lot of money. You do not want jewelry that does that. On the other hand, you know, you wear sort of tasteful things that that accessorize in a tasteful way that don't make a statement that you don't want to make. It seems to me. Big thick belts just look uncomfortable, but you know, I think you know what you wear depends on the milieu. I guess
Yeah, I'll just be really quick and say, I think in terms of hair, I've had the really, really long hair, and I've also gone really short, and I do think it is, long hair is, people associate that with you. And it's also a very sexy look. And I do think you have to be a little concerned about that because it's like one incident, not when I was a lawyer, but when I was a teacher in high school, I had long hair and my hair was down. It actually became a problem, and that's when I learned to start putting my hair up because it was considered too distracting in class because I had students who were trying to touch my hair. Yeah, it was really bizarre. But so I do think, so I always associate really long hair that's not pulled back as an uncomfortable experience for me. So in terms of hair, I do think, you know, something pulled back or up or short tends to be more professional. I don't know anything about accessories. I only wear one piece of jewelry, so I wish I knew how to accessorize. So I could always like get some tips from you. But I do think it always makes an outfit look really nice. But ultimately, I do think part of this is you guys can have your own sense of style. And I think it's important for you to have your own sense of style, but you also want to think about what's the image you want to project. And you want to be confident in that image. And you can and do it in a way that you enjoy looking that way.
Thank you so much for all of your comments today and all of your helpful information. Let's give them a big round of applause.